Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, in this video I'm going to give you a short rundown of how to make a Storm Strider on the cheap side with LEDs in it. First thing you're going to need is a Storm Strider. Here we've got one where I've got everything basically put together, ready to paint. I've got my legs put together, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. I have Storm Strider riders. Yep, they're ready to go. Next thing we've got is the storm ball, the base, platform, with all of this stuff put together. These are going to be the important parts we're going to want to work with right now. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over some basics of an LED. First, we have a battery. This is a CR2016 Energizer 3-volt, nice flat little battery. These batteries have a positive and a negative side. If you notice, the positive side extends out past the edge. We're going to take advantage of that. And the negative is the pad in the middle that you'll notice with this black ring around it. It gives it a insulation so that they're not touching. If you take an LED, there is a short lead off of it and a long lead. If the short lead touches the inside and the long lead touches the outside, we have a connection that moves electricity to light said LED. A 3-volt battery will be more than happy to run a single LED without any resistors, transistors, modifiers, or anything else that you may want to try and put in there. Now, it's not going to be as efficient, and it's not going to last as long. But with the cheap mod that we're doing, we don't really care. First off, we're going to make a place. We need an on and off switch and a simple place to put the battery. So what we're going to do is we're going to fit said battery and cut a slot into the base thick enough so that this battery will fit into it nice and easily, yet hold. We don't want it to fall out, yet we don't want it to be pushed. We want it to be able to easily be put in and out with our hands. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to drill a hole from the center down that's going to pass just inside of this center hole, of this hole that we've drilled in through the bottom. So it'll figure, and then we're going to drill one hole a little further back to match it. And I'll show you, if you put the leads, you want the short lead that's going to touch the negative side of the battery away from the center of the hole, and the long lead that will touch the edge of the battery all the way through. Now, I didn't worry about drilling the hole all the way through on the bottom section for the short LED, or for the short lead off the LED. The long lead will go all the way through. Now, this looks all fine and complicated and dandy, but watch this. If you push that battery in there, you can make connection with the outside, and if you push the LED down, you make connection with the center, and you can light said LED. And watch, if you pull the battery out, it turns off. Now we have a couple of problems here. First, the leads are way too long on the LED. Second, it doesn't stay without being pushed down. It doesn't stay lit. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut the leads so that we get something along these lines. Here's one that I've already cut to fit, and I'll show you with this one. We're going to cut these to match. Mostly all that matters is that we cut the short end to the right length. So now I'm going to push this LED all the way through with the leads down. Now, you want the short lead to push down. See how there's a small gap between the LED light and the base of it? You don't want it to push down all the way even and barely stick through. You want it to stick through, almost through to the bottom of the gap that you've cut. And the reason for that being is, once it's flat and level, the long lead is through, short lead is pushed through, but not through this bottom section. I'm going to take this battery and I'm going to bend that short lead over. And that lead is going to act as a pinching mechanism to hold the battery in place, and also to hold the lead in place so that it'll stay lit and I don't have to touch it. Beautiful, simple, little elegant design right there. The on-off switch is basically still just pulling this in and out. As you push it in and pull it out, lights up, goes off. Next thing we're going to have is, if you'll notice, I have 4 holes drilled in around this circle. I want to be able to change this light out because I'm going to burn it out faster without the resistor on it. So what I did is I took my platform section, I drilled 4 holes into the bottom of the platform, and I put 4 pieces of brass rod in there that just barely stuck out, maybe an 1/18 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch. And then what I did is I lined it up in position, and I pushed down on it real hard and made 4 holes marking exactly where these would match up. Then I drilled these holes down in variable lengths, it doesn't matter, and I put 4 longer pieces of brass rod in here and glued these to the platform. These now stick out and they're firmly in place. Then I drilled through the center and made plenty of room for my LED to stick up through the bottom of the platform and through the top. So now what I can do is I can push this onto here, and it makes a nice firm connection that's one solid piece. And if you notice, it's pretty solid. I can shake it, hold it upside down, and it doesn't come off. This will have 2 nice benefits to it. It'll make the Storm Strider not near as tall for transportation in your battle foam or your regular sable foam trays, and it'll give you access to be able to change the light bulb out should it burn out. Once again, you can see lights up beautifully. Battery in place. Now, the next thing we'll show you is by using this battery and going in from, let me pull this off so I can show you. This torso piece is not centered where the platform fits. You want to make sure that you do the cut on the back side, or the piece that is furthest, the shortest distance from the edge of the platform to the center of this circle. That way it's a whole lot easier to get into. I did this cut using my handy dandy Dremel with a cutting wheel. I just sliced in as far as it would go on the bottom, sliced in above it, and then pushed in back and forth. This wheel was not quite long enough for me to go in all the way with the way I did it, so I had a grinding wheel that's a little bit thicker and is a little bit larger, as you can tell, and that was able to give me the depth that I needed on there. Alright, next thing we've got to worry about is how we're going to get light to come through the storm ball. First thing you're going to want to do is drill pilot holes. These are going to be real important so that you make sure that your drill hole, or that your larger drill bit, does not tear up the detailing inside each of these circles. After you have that drilled, I used a pin vise to put a short drill spot in as my guide drill. Then I used a larger drill bit to go into the center of the ball. Now, it created a lot of dust and a lot of excess stuff, so make sure that you pull it out as you're drilling, because once you've pushed it in far enough that these I don't even know what these are called, the grooves to get rid of any additional flack or any additional waste of the material you're drilling, you want to be able to pull this out so that that stuff will come out of the way instead of just generating a lot of heat and compressing inside the drill bit. You drill in these, and then you get nice, pretty neat holes all the way in here. Now, the other thing about this is if you drill this hole in here, and you leave the drill bit with the grooves, these edges still cut. So if you will push this drill bit in past where those edges are, you can then play with the size or with how the drill bit fits in there, and you can hollow out the inside of the ball. See how much play there is in this drill bit? I did that to make a larger void spot for light to be able to shine through. Let's see. See how on this side one, I tried to angle the hole down as much as I could towards where the LED would show in through the hole. By doing that, it lets more light easily pass through. The less mass there is inside the ball, the more light there's going to shine through, but you want to be careful that you don't drill all the way through the ball, or that you don't tear up the sides on the other side as you're doing it. Next thing we're going to do, you'll want to flatten this piece out, drill in through the bottom, make it large enough so that the LED head can fit inside there easily, and then you'll be able to place the storm ball into the platform. You can fit your base onto the bottom of the platform and push your battery into place. And as you see, you now have light coming through a Storm Ball for nothing more than a cheap LED and a $2 battery from Walmart. To give you an idea how cheap that LED was, I got 100 of them for $5 off eBay. The battery came 2 to a pack, and I think it was $5, maybe $6 for both of them. And ladies and gentlemen, last thing I want to show you, that battery does fit back here, and with both legs attached to the Storm Strider, it leaves plenty of room to be able to reach in and pull the battery out and put it back in. And that is going to be your simple, quick, and dirty way to have a lit Storm Strider on a budget.